The Ultimate Soldier US Navy SEAL uniform set by 21st Century Toys, released back in 1998. This set is basically a SEAL woodland diver. On the back of the package are the other sets available at the time of the release. 21st Century Toys was heavily into making Vietnam War sets alongside the modern era sets. Well, it's not exactly modern anymore, but I like the 80s and 90s military era. Over here are the full action soldier figures. These are the basic figures of the Ultimate Soldier line. It's similar to G.I. Joe's basic box figures, then you have to buy the uniform and equipment sets separately. Personally, I miss this type of marketing. Nowadays, when you buy 1/6 scale figures, you have to buy the entire thing and then part it out. With uniform sets, you can buy a bunch of them and mix and match so you can create your own figure. When I bought this set, I was under the impression that it was sealed, but it's not. The set is missing the boonie hat. If you look here, you can definitely see that a hat is supposed to be included. Anyway, let's get to the set and see what it does come with. There are some things you need to know when buying these old sets. The glue for the accessory tend to perish and you need to re-glue a lot of the pieces. Some of the elastic straps, especially on the weapons and heavy gear, need replacing. Equipping the gear on the figure can be difficult if you're not familiar with the role of the soldier you're assembling. Especially during this era, most companies didn't supply any instructions. Unlike during the vintage era with G.I. Joe and Action Man when they had amazing illustrated instructions. You need a general idea of what each gear does. Especially with this set, the figure's gonna be wearing a lot of complex gear. I'm gonna be using the Marine Full Action Soldier figure. I know it's a Marine, but let's pretend he's a SEAL. Left the Corps, then straight to Buds and all that. This is the first 21st Century toy figure version. Second version was around 2000, which has more articulation and taller than this. But to be period correct, I'm using the first version to get the true experience how it would have been back in the late 90s. It has basic articulation compared to the later version. Figure is still fresh and has tight joints and everything. Be careful to not force raising and lowering the head, for it might break or make it loose. At the back of the briefs is where you'd find the year when the figure was produced. The left leg is crooked with this one, but it's not the case for all of the first version figures. Let's start putting on the gear. First, we start off with the balaclava mask and gloves, anything that's gonna be underneath the BDU. Then we put the Woodland BDU on the figure. All clothing from 21st Century Toys are tagged inside. They used snap buttons like all the other 1/6 scale figure brands at the time. I decided to tuck in the top of the BDU in the trousers so the figure will look cleaner and it will have no problems on the other gear. Next are the wetsuit boots. They're also marked for left and right foot. Boots are the most difficult thing to put on the figure. Just be patient with it. You can also heat up the boots first to make them more flexible and soft. The diver weight belt is next with a drop-down holster and pouch. The HNK Mark 23 pistol is in the holster. Suppressor is removable in a snug fit on the pistol. I do like the added detail on the business end of the suppressor. Most manufacturers would skip that. It doesn't have the laser aim module on the pistol, but there's a version with it included. Now back to the belt. We have to remove the weights and put the pouches and the weights back accordingly. Then we put it on the figure. The Dregger LARV Mod 2 Rebreather. This accessory is pretty heavy and bulky for the figure. I do like they use cloth straps, not the elastic ones here. All we have to do is to wrap the top strap around the back of its neck. Then the bottom strap around the figure's waist. Lastly, we put the mouthpiece strap around the head. LARV Mod 2 Shadow Life Preserver. This is where the glue comes in. The hoses are glued on the vest and it perishes over time due to storage conditions. I already re-glued the hoses. First, we put the vest around the neck. Then we fasten the front belt over the rebreather. And finally fasten the back belt on the figure's back. After that, we put on the M99 Seal Low Volume Mask. The goggle is settling on the nose of the figure, which keeps the mouthpiece in place. Like in my previous videos, the sling of the MP5 is a pain to set up due to the hooks it has for the weapon. The hooks have excess plastic from the mold. I'm gonna use a hobby knife to clean it up so it will hold the MP5 better. Since the figure is going to be bulky, there's no way of wrapping the sling around his body without overstretching the sling. My solution is to just have it slung on his right shoulder and tuck it underneath the preserver. Lastly, the diving fins and the nav board. I just tuck the nav board in one of the straps of the fins and have it on the wrist of the figure's arm so it can grip the MP5. You can also have him hold the stuff. To be honest, this is how I remember US Navy SEALs, divers in particular, before all that desert camo, plate carriers, and caps came into the scene. I'm actually really impressed on how the gear is equipped on the figure, and it doesn't hinder the articulation that much. I expected a lot of elastic bands and Velcro. The white sole of the boots is a bit off-putting. They should have just painted black. Out of everything, I just wish it came with a hat. Thanks for watching.